yesterday's update, we got a brand new spell, the Ice Block spell. It's going to freeze up your troops and make them take a lot less damage. So I want to talk about 5 of the best use cases for this brand new spell. One great use for this Ice Block spell is to actually counter invisibility towers, especially with a Royal Champion charge. So if we go in here and we start our Royal Champion charge with our Spirit Fox, like we normally would here, we're going to work it in, let her just kind of do her thing and start pushing her in towards that town hall. One thing we might encounter is definitely an invisibility tower that can be a little bit of a pain. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to start working her in here. And then once that invis tower goes off, we're going to go ahead and use the Ice Block to freeze her up. And then she can come back in here and then she can go ahead and pop off ability and we can get this town hall down. Now, maybe that wasn't executed the best, but you can kind of see in practice where that could definitely come in handy, especially on a Royal Champion charge, using that Ice Block to counter that invis and then get the town hall down anyways. And it doesn't always have to be the town hall. Maybe you just want to counter the invisibility tower that's covering up some defenses that you want to take out. You can definitely use this to your advantage, especially going for the multi-gear tower. That's going to be a huge pickup. So we can go ahead, we can just work in here, and then once that kind of wears off, we count out our 7 seconds, and then we can go ahead and we can re-invis here, and then we can re-engage, and then we can also get that passive damage from the Royal Champion aura. Now we can just kind of set up the pathing here for this Royal Champion charge to work inside this base, but not just invis towers. You can use it to counter all of the spell towers here, kind of leaning into our second tip for it. We're going to go ahead and we're just going to use a couple of these Ice Block spells to kind of negate some of the damage. Now we could also use the Warden ability here, but just giving you an option so you could save that Warden ability till later, as you can just Ice Block off your whole pack of troops right here and they're going to take minimal damage. So you can wait for that rage to kind of wear off. You can drop off another Ice Block and freeze them back up. Meanwhile, that rage is still ticking away in the background. Then you can drop in your own rage and you can work through there. And then you can pretty much counter that the rage tower completely there. Now, this one's not as practical as maybe the invis tower. I like the invis tower a lot, but it definitely has some use cases to countering the other spell towers as well. And you can kind of do the same here with the poison spell. Again, not maybe as practical in this application right here, but just kind of showing you that you can counter spell towers. I think the invis on the RC charge is really huge, but countering the rage and the poison spell tower is really nice. Poison spell tower is going to last for 12 seconds. Our Ice Block is going to last for 7. So if we could go ahead and throw another one in there, we can pretty much withstand that whole freeze and the whole poison with our Ice Block. Use Warden ability, push our way in, but also it's going to tank at the same time. So countering spell towers is going to be a really great use for this Ice Block spell. Another great way to use the Ice Block spell is to negate the damage from the Giga Bomb. So if we can time this out perfectly, we can go ahead and throw our Royal Champion in here, do our normal Royal Champion charge, work her in towards this Inferno, and then push her even further in. Let's just go with a couple invises here. So maybe we can push her right up into the middle. If we drop the Ice Block right in here, she's not going to take all that damage in there. You see that? Now she does get pulled in there from the hook, but she's also got her passive damage just working right in there. We can go ahead and we can get the hook taken out there and just keep moving forward with our charge there. So you can use it to negate the damage from that Giga Bomb. And it, again, doesn't have to be the Royal Champion. It could be all of your troops. But it's just a great way to kind of negate things. And again, we got another rage tower up there. Well, I guess we're going away from it, but we could use that just to kind of negate some of the damage on that and work through there. We're going to let her get taken out, then we can revive her later in the attack. It's a great way just to negate a lot of damage on the base. Getting that Giga Bomb out in the beginning of the attack with your Royal Champion is huge. And even here at like lower town hall levels, remember that Giga Bomb is built into the town hall, so you can kind of just use the Ice Block spell instead of using your Warden ability, so you can save that Eternal Tome till a little bit later. So we can go ahead and we can Ice Block our troops right here and negate some of the damage, even negate some of that poison from that Giga Bomb explosion. So it's just going to work to counter a lot of damage on bases. I think it's a good utility to have, especially even at the lower town halls. Instead of not having to use that Warden ability, we can now use it a little bit later, get that healing on the dragons later. I don't know how practical it is. It's still something, one of those things, the timing is going to be a little bit weird, but these are just ways that you can use this new Ice Block spell. One little fun trick you can do, I'm just using this basically because it just works really well. One little fun trick you can do is you can actually use your Barbarian King with the hook and kind of use it to your advantage. So you see the hook's going to pull our troops to the middle, right? So we could actually use that to our advantage with our Barbarian King. So if we bring him in, We let him just kind of work, and then he's going to get pulled right on in here. We can actually ice block him, negate that Giga Bomb. Then we can go ahead and set off his Earthquake Boots and his Spiky Ball and just open up this little section of the base right there. It's a little cheeky play from the Barbarian King to kind of work in there and get some. Now we got us a Barbarian King charge. Don't necessarily recommend that, but again, we can just negate some of the damage in there. It's a really cool little trick there, but you can just have a little bit of fun with it with the heroes. So we can kind of play around with this with the Warden also. Let's take out these couple Wizard Towers here so we can just kind of get through here. But we can just mess around. Now this one, probably not as practical and a little bit harder to pull off, but if we can do a little bit of a Warden charge here, when he gets snatched up, we can use the ice block, and then we can just kind of use his fireball to our advantage here. So he's going to get snatched up in here. He's going to get pulled to the middle of the base. We'll go ahead and we'll ice block him there, and then we'll go invis, 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 and then maybe even one invis here, and then we can drop in the fireball, and there we go. Bada bing, bada boom. We take out some of those defenses in the middle of the base. Gonna be hard to keep him up after that, but still kind of fun, right? But I think just in general, like on walks, having this as a utility in there is going to be really, really good as I put my healers right into an air defense. But that's kind of the point here. Maybe we lost a couple of healers. We could use this to kind of negate some of the damage on the queen. Now I know our Frosty's kind of doing the job soaking up here, but if the queen or even a Warden Walk ever get into damage, or even just heroes in general, if they ever get in a spot where they're in a little bit of a damage, what you can do is you can actually go ahead and you can use this ice block on just the hero and allow your healers to soak up in there. And then if you need to, you can rage them up, or you can bring in some more troops just to help out, or you can just help out that charge, whatever it may be, whether it's a queen charge, a Warden Walk, whatever it might be. You can just help it out a little bit by freezing your hero and just supporting them even further into the base here. And again, you can just do that multiple times if needed. I think this is going to be more of a utility type thing, one more that's more reactionary, but I think there's a lot of great uses for this. Like we could just, again, freeze her up, let those healers work up through there. She's soaking up all that damage. Just a great way to kind of protect and make those charges last a little bit longer, maybe a little bit better than just a regular freeze spell. So you can just make sure. The one thing with this though is if the healers are in the range of the defense, you're going to be in a little bit of a pickle. So I think here on hero charges and Warden Walks and that kind of stuff, I think it's going to be a nice little tool to have in our pocket. So let me know how you guys are using the ice block spell down there in the comment section. Let me know if this was helpful.